Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host, I'm very good friend, he's Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We're covering Married at First Sight UK, Season 7, Episode 17 through to 19. Now, Chris, we normally, of course, would wait till all of the episodes have aired and then record at the weekend, and we basically couldn't wait, could we?
No.
It has been absolutely explosive this week. I mean, I shall ask you, I think you know, but where would you like to start today?
We've got to go, well, I had notes. We should, like you say, we were supposed to be just doing a week wrap up. And as the week's gone on, it's like, holy shit, we need to get on and chat about this. Because I'm like you, I just want to explode watching this, Dave. I've got a lot to say, but it's got to be Matt, the whole Matt, Whitney, Duca and Gemma. I mean, this is rivaling the Australian one for me for just ridiculousness. And I've got to say, I think these two have been told to do this because they look the most incompatible couple going. He's turning into, well, he is a male chauvinist and he's horrible and he gets any criticism, whether it's Gemma, Zoe's gone at him a few times, he just gets up and he's saying stuff like, I don't value your opinion. He's an absolute arse, Dave. What an absolute arse. But what great TV it's been this week.
It has been great, and it's properly gets you riled up, doesn't it? But, I mean, we'll get to the whole who do you think you're talking to? You know, you can imagine him standing at the queue at McDonald's. Do you know who I am? Kind of thing. But yeah, we can talk about. Obviously, this week we've had, a dinner party, which is always explosive, always plants those seeds. Then we've had the commitment ceremony. But I think even before that, the whole setup. Now, we had seen spoilers. You know, we had seen before the episode aired that Matt and Whitney were going to cheat and get together. But I can see why you would say this is a producer-led thing. Now, I don't know for a fact, but what I can say for a fact, Chris, is that looked horrendously fake when Matt and Whitney were having that whole conversation. Yes. I don't know whether it was just, I can't imagine the producers would say, can you two get together? Or, you know, the old, they're a plant and let's just cause some drama. But it was so stilted. If these guys have an ambition about acting, I think they should think about something else because it was just so fake, the whole thing. It was very, very towy, very set up. So I think it's more probable, isn't it, that there's a lot more happened off camera. And then the producers have kind of got a little bit of wind of it. You know, maybe they've had a chat off camera or whatever. And then they're like, right, well, we need to get some of this because, you know, we'll get it on camera and then, you know, this will be a great storyline.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's all sorts to talk about with that stuff before. They're like, you know, my issue was with tonight was the fucking experts did not held them accountable. I mean, Paul had to go at Adrian, who for me, Adrian is my man of the whole show. I love Adrian. Legend. I think he's a fucking great guy. He don't mess about. George and April are a pair of fucking dildos. The pair of them. George is there crying over any indiscretion. April, can you tell me who you spoke to on the 15th of September at 10:30 and what was the conversation? He's absolutely Mr. Insecure, but laughing his cock off at the fact that Matt was going to ditch Gemma. And April's there backing Whitney up. And I'm like, you absolute pair of fucking idiots. Just complete hypocrites. They are the fakest couple on this show, Dave. George is a dick. And I didn't like Paul, the expert, when he had a pop at Adrian. I mean, old Thomas just walks off anyway. He walks off at like the wing change. But Thomas is hilarious as well. But Adrian was making a valid point. Paul gives him a load of aggro. No. But then when it all happens with Gemma and Matt and Whitney and Duca, oh no, it's a fucking free-for-all. Everyone can chip in then. I found that completely inconsistent. And Adrian was onto something that they didn't want to show. Oh, Dave, I was fucking livid. I'm so glad we're talking about it. Yeah.
The thing, so let's stick on George and April for a second then. I find them, I mean, they're not a completely fake couple in that, you know, they're just here for social media exposure, although they are a bit of that, but you know, they're not just smile for the cameras kind of thing. I actually find them really, really interesting. I mean, April's been on, you know, a number of different reality shows. She will be again after this, I'm sure. George, I find him really quite dangerous, and you know, that was even before those stuff, you know, that seemed to leak out in the papers about some of his past relationships, some of his ex-girlfriends, you know, complaining to the police that he's abusive. Now, Chris, if you go to the police, that has gone pretty far already, hasn't it? But you can kind of see it. That I'm not going to comment on that and whether that's true. We've not seen any of that. All we've seen is this edited show, and you're trying to piece together these little data points and just make your own mind up about the person. But I do think George is in this constant state of insecurity, and it drives this really unhealthy, toxic behavior.
Yeah, it does. It's very strange. And April's approach to it all, like she mentions it to the experts, but like I say, I lose a lot of credibility for her when she's backing Whitney up, because I think Whitney's been hideous, Dave. And you're right. I'm not trying to jump over everything, but the whole thing with these people, and like you say, George, there's something not right. Look, 3 people have allegedly gone to the police. We don't know the context of it. Separately, they don't know each other about him, saying, you know, these allegations came out and it was all over the news. So it's unfair to say whether they are right or wrong. However, watching an edited show, which is completely washed down in what's going on in real life, in my opinion, I honestly think that there is something there, Dave, that there is something credible to these accusations. However, we don't know. But I do think what we've seen, he needs some fucking counselling or something. And I just hated the way that he was such a hypocrite with Matt. It just pissed me right off.
Yeah, a hypocrite with Matt, but also he goes off crying to the lads about how he can't trust April. And then, you know, in a public setting, though, he's like, no, leave my wife alone. You know, it's like, make your fucking mind up. And I'll say this about, you know, a number of the couples. It's mostly the men, to be honest, Chris, who are acting all shitty. And you sort of think any couple, and, you know, we've got, you know, a lesbian couple, a gay couple in there as well. So I don't want to come across like it's just a hetero thing, but the men in the hetero relationships here are just acting shitty. And in a positive, healthy relationship, you're supposed to build each other up. You're supposed to make each other better, you know. And actually, a lot of the girls are just shrinking, and I see April just shrinking, to be honest. And George, through his insecurity, is constantly like wearing her down. Really didn't like how April was with Whitney. I thought that was out of order. I don't know where she was coming from there. But putting that to one side, you know, just looking at George and April as a couple, just it is not good at all. And honestly, there are so many red flags with George. I think he is really gaslighting her, to be honest, and just wearing away.
I agree. I can't disagree or anything. I think you completely sum that up. And another couple, you say about the guys, and you're completely right, Dave. Adrian and Thomas, you know, for one reason or the other, I just really enjoy watching them on screen. They're just so funny. Thomas is so dramatic. It's brilliant TV. Fuck off. You fucking lie. I love all that. I love Adrian trying to calm him down. And Adrian's got this real calmness but firmness to his personality, which I love. Yeah. I'll tell you another one, Dave, which has been alarming by the fucking episode. Talk about 1950 stereotype fucking Yorkshireman. Oh, Jonathan, and he even supported fucking Matt and Whitney. And that was, for me, I was like, right, we've got to record. We have to record because what an unusual character this guy is. He tells everything he's thinking. There is no filter. And poor Sophie, who I thought would be the troublesome one in the relationship, is a lovely girl, and he's a fucking dick.
Yeah. I think, if someone has to come out, if someone goes around just fucking like a bull in a china shop, offending everyone, and just says, well, it's my opinion, you're a fucking dick, right?
Yeah.
And there are so many times, so many people have tried to help him understand, but he's just not getting it. And you know why? Because he doesn't want to get it, because he doesn't care for anyone's opinions. I find him on par with Matt, to be honest. I think it's disgusting how he's been treating Sophie. Sorry, I was going to say Gemma. Yeah. Again, in exactly the same or in a slightly different way, but the end result is the same. You see her shrinking. You saw this really confident person, when we were introduced to that couple, and then that first week they seemed to have a good time. Yeah, Chris, he's not really that bothered. And the whole horse legs thing, what a fucking idiot, and you can tell Sophie's more of that kind of pear shape. She's not stick thin. And you can tell he's so fucking superficial and narcissistic. It's just, I think she's on the borderline already of what he's attracted to. And he's trying to project that, sorry, don't get any bigger because I won't be interested. And just so much of what he says is offensive. It's like, well, I'm entitled to my opinion. And you know what really pisses me off as well is when like he gets called out on that. Right, well, the answer is I'll just not say anything then. That's the answer, isn't it? You passive-aggressive git. That's not the answer,
so
is it?
Bad.
You've got nothing. So go and fucking furnish some wood.
Yeah, I agree, Dave. He needs to be in a shed somewhere on his own, filing down a fucking chair or something. What an unusual character. And I know there's so much buzzing in my head about it, but I think what I love, Dave, so we said about most of the guys, I think Jordan was excellent, the way he tackled Matt and Whitney. And he was basically having a go at the judges. That was good of him.
Sorry to cut across you there, but actually, there were a few comments of this week. But when, it all kicked off with Gemma and Matt, then is the time, Jonathan. Just keep quiet. It's nothing to do with you. But he's like, yeah, but you must have known it was gone anyway. And fucking Jordan is like, oh, here we go. It's Mr. Blunt.
Yeah.
That was a great, great comment that I appreciated.
It was excellent. I mean, and that's what I thought when Jordan went and Matt's like, well, we're all here for the same thing. And I think like with poor Gemma and the whole Matt thing, one thing I'll say first, that you said about lines of the week. The line of the week for me was the Kermit the Frog drinking the tea was fucking Kwame when it kicked off between Duca and Thomas. And then fucking Matt's there rubbing his shoulders and hugging him. And then he went, that's ironic, innit? He goes, folks fucking stealing your missus or whatever. Oh, Dave. And Matt didn't say fuck all to Kwame, did he? He didn't say boo to a goose. I was fucking punching the air. It was an absolute classic MAFS line. That it was brilliant.
Yeah. You know what? I thought when he was saying, Kwame said it a couple of times, didn't he? He said the irony. And I thought he was talking about Thomas walking off. I thought he was insinuating like, oh, Thomas has stormed off. Now we can get some peace and quiet. I thought that's what he was talking about. And then he drops the bomb. It's like consoled by the man who's stealing your woman, I think was his words. Fucking hell, he threw that grenade, didn't he? And
it was classic.
It was
classic.
That was class TV from there. But geez, it's one of those where we love the drama, but shit in hell, it was brutal as well, wasn't it, to watch it unfold?
Yeah, because I'd seen a meme, and it's more about fucking the UK government at the moment. But there was a meme yesterday of someone on a swing, just swinging, going, "This is Liz Truss, and this is the UK." And in the background, there's a fucking there's just basically a war going on behind this person. It's a real picture. Someone's just swinging on a swing, and that's what I thought of Kwame. I thought he just sat there, Prosecco in hand, going, "This is fucking great." Honestly. It's not good. If you were in that situation, it's fucking awful because poor Gemma got it from all angles. And then Whitney, of all people, then starts trying to turn it on herself, like she's the one who's hard done to. And Kwame's just sat there, it was class. But I do think with Gemma Day, very interesting character, because we watch these shows and we talk about them, we review and we slate all of them. We know that in the back of the heads there's exposure. I'm not saying that Gemma's not aware that her profile on social media will raise. However, I do genuinely think she's gone in there for love, Dave. And I think, unfortunately, she's come up against a bunch of people who are all reality TV stars who literally, after this, can go on anything. Like, we're watching the SAS thing at the moment, and Pete Wicks, I can't stand him, he's a guy off Towie. He's going back on Celebrity Dating, which Paulie's a presenter on. It's just all sorts, but they have this career of just going from one thing to another on reality TV. And that's what I think she's walked into. She's walked into people like April, Matt, Whitney, Duca, especially, because he didn't seem to give a shit about the fact what was going on with Whitney at all. It was more like, oh shit, I've got to go home. And it was all that contrived. But I do feel for Gemma, because I think she's come into this quite naive, thinking she's going to find love. And Matt's gone, I'm only here for fucking likes and fucking, being on TV. And unfortunately for her, I feel really sorry for her, if I'm being honest, Dave. I think there's been no support for her. And I do think that the way this week's gone on, by the end of tonight's episode, the way Whitney was doing it was like it was Gemma's fault. And I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. Whether it's the edit, whatever, I just felt really sorry for her.
Well, I've talked about April and Sophie shrinking. You can absolutely see it with Gemma, can't you? And again, she's not allowed to speak or just be fucking upset. Matt has to fucking shout it down. And Whitney, I just do not know what her game is. I don't get what the baby voice is all about, or whatever it is. It's like, oh, I'm too cool for school. What a horrible, horrible person. Duca is just happy to be there and get on TV, I think, because he's not really that bothered. The only emotion he showed was when he was getting a bit riled up by Thomas, but, not really that bothered about Whitney. They never had anything, so he was like, oh, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I think you've hit on something there, that the problem is with this whole application process and everything. And this is season 7. We see it with The Bachelor. We see it with Love Island and everything. There's a lot of people now. The high percentage of people are there just for the exposure. Not all of them are, like April, have been on other things before, but from this season, they'll go on to other things. A lot of the people from last season, have popped up here, there, and everywhere, haven't they? Not just the reunion. That I always keep wanting to call her Natalie. It's not Natalie, is it? It's something else. The one from Newcastle, was on all these other different things. Was it X on the Beach or whatever? So that's the problem. But you do get people who seem to, honestly, Chris, drink the Kool-Aid a bit and think the experts are actual relationship experts and not just a bunch of See You Next Tuesdays who are trying to stir up the drama. So, so some people, I think, just get caught in the crossfire there. But regardless of, whatever happened up to that point, what was really riling me was Gemma's position in that group setting. She's just been hit by this bomb. Matt didn't have the stones to actually pull her to one side and say about, this is what's happening. Kwame threw the grenade in there. And as much as it was great drama for TV and like the memes and everything, like you say, the old Kermit the Frog drinking his lemon tea, just while there's chaos going around. All right, I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy that. But fuck me, how must Gemma have felt being in that position? It was fucking embarrassing. She was trying to adjust her behavior to, all the things that she was being told. She was shrinking as a person, and then bang, you've got no choice now. And then all these things must be swimming around your head. It's like, well, hang about, did we ever have a chance? How long has this been going on for? I just thought it was brutal. But she wasn't allowed to just be upset get it off her chest, because he kept fucking shouting back. It's like, do you know who I am? All right, I know he didn't say that, but who do you think you're talking to? It was just, oh, Chris, in your words, I was fizzing.
Oh, mate, honestly. And I think you're right. But what annoyed me was like Matt, so we call Thomas out because Thomas takes himself away now. Maybe it's some agents. Sam said this. I think it's more agent, maybe trying to calm him down so he takes himself away because it's like every episode.
I don't know if it's him calming him down. I think it's a bit of a coping strategy for him.
Yes,
I think he recognizes it in himself when he's sort of spiraling a little bit, and he's like, "Right, I'm gonna go off, but I'm gonna say,
down.
Get a bunch of fucking liars before I go."
Yeah, no, I'm with you because what I was getting at was we've said it about Thomas and laughed about it, and like I said, I think it's a coping mechanism. But fucking Matt doesn't like anything. As soon as you attack Matt with home truths, like Zoe did, he calls people fucking sweetheart. I don't value. He's proper condescending chauvinist. Like Zoe and Jenna actually said to him, he's a fucking condescending bastard or something like that, or whatever. She's a dickhead or something. And he is. As soon as he gets anything, he just goes. He completely goes. He does not like to be criticised. That man.
Only from the women. Only from the women.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Blokes can criticise him, and he's okay with that. I tell you what, Chris. We've talked about all the negatives. Zoe. Right, I didn't like in the first few weeks the whole fucking veganism thing. I thought it was blown up to be this thing that it shouldn't have been. But what a legend Zoe's been this week.
Yeah, excellent, Dave, and not afraid to speak, man. I love that about her. What she did, it was so good, so nice to see as well. Because I thought she did a better job than the fucking experts, and I'm not buying any of this shit with what the experts are doing. Oh, we're going to have a word. Them two fuckers are going to be in this show now till the end. Without a doubt. I do not believe that they're not going to be.
Do you think, because, again, we've seen the playbook. We've seen in Australia, Carolina and Daniel. And I'm sure they did a cliffhanger as well. Chris, honestly, when that cliffhanger hit, I was like, you motherfuckers. I didn't even notice the time. And it was coming up to 10 o'clock, but I'm sure they did a cliffhanger as well. They might have even made us wait a whole weekend, but I think they're going to give them a bit of a roasting because we've seen it in Australia. They'll talk a little bit, and Jordan, fair play to him, was calling them out, wasn't he? He's like, we're all here, we're trying to make our couples work because of you. You've so-called, analyze this, and scientifically matched us up, and then these two people have just got together. It's not the experiment anymore. You haven't put them through the analysis. It's not the valid experiment. If you want to try and make it work, fuck off into the real world and make it work there. So I don't think they're gonna let them stay.
I hope not. I just, the way this goes, Dave. This gets ratings, doesn't it? I mean, social media, my word, and it's one of the worst things at the best of times. But I couldn't help but put MAFS UK on this week, every episode, and it's just been an absolute. The majority are just like, a few people, Dave. I did see, Matt and Whitney, even though the majority are at him. A few people have said, well, what's the problem? She's got no relationship with Duca, and him and Gemma, it's her own fault for being so crass. Well, I don't really agree with that at all. But there is people supporting what's happened. So it's been a real interesting thing to see.
Yeah. I can't help those people. I mean, if you can't see what's gone on here. I mean, again, you either... And look, we talked about a lot of the contestants, if you like, will come on, and it's mostly about the social media career, but you can get relationships out of it that work as well. I think a lot of the emotions are real, but if you just go into it as if it's Love Island, well, go on to fucking Love Island then, and then try out loads of different partners. The whole point of this show is it's supposed to be a marriage. You're supposed to, they've scientifically figured out that you two are compatible. You might not be, exactly what you were expecting, that not your quote unquote usual type, but this is how we think you're matched. And so, off you go. First time you're going to meet each other is when you're married. You need to now go and work on it. That's the whole concept of the show. So, it's not just throw these people together and, if the first couple doesn't work, then, try out another partner or something. And I thought, is it Paul, is it? The quote unquote expert, Chris? His response to Jordan's question was like, well, to be true, we haven't analysed these. Well, what sort of fucking defence is that?
I know.
What are you trying to say there? Why not?
What they done?
Why wouldn't you? You haven't got a population of 1 million people to look at. Why haven't you?
So when he says analyse, Dave, it means they got a little fucking spreadsheet with the name, the picture, where they live, what their interests are. That's all they've done. There's no fucking way they've analysed any of these couples together. I know he was taking a big win with Adrian and Thomas, wasn't he, when they were talking? He's like, yeah, that's why we put you together. You guys didn't believe it. And I'm like, fuck off. I think that's more Adrian Thomas have just acted like adults when they're on their own. And that's where we've come to, because Thomas even says my outrageous behaviour. But he's taking the win. I like Paul a lot. I was taking the win and I'm like, wow, this is classic. This is absolute class. But me, mate, what a great episode. I know we're going to do a wrap up for the week, but we had to talk about this.
Yeah, just had to jump on. Like I say, the whole Matt and Whitney thing, just couldn't wait till the weekend. But Jonathan as well, I think, is horrendous. I think the way not only he's behaving, but he refuses to listen or hear any of the criticism. And again, the experts trying to tell him. I think Zoe is Jenna, is trying to help him understand, and Gemma as well, how offensive he is. Just not interested, though. Just not interested. So you're not going to grow. So yeah, again, not a good contestant for me. And I think I hope Sophie can see it, because she is trying to adjust her behaviour. And again, who he's like, Chris? He's a bit of a watered down Poundland fucking Bryce.
Oh, they're still together, Bryce and Melissa.
No, but she had a game plan. She wanted to have babies, so fair play to her. She was willing to put up with that dickhead. But Bryce was one of the first things they say. Nice little romantic setting, and she's like, "Well, what did you think when we first met?" And he says, "Well, she's not bad. She's not ugly." Oh, you old smoothie.
Yeah. You know what, Dave? I know we're going around the houses. There's so much to unpack, and we're near the end now. But that situation with Daniel and Carolina from the last series is so. That's why I think it's like someone said to them, we need a couple like that, because Matt and Whitney's whole approach to it is exactly the same. It's that arrogance of love conquers all. We don't care that we're treading on any of yous. I don't feel upset. The fake bullshit Towie talk that Whitney had with April, Matt's whole... none of the lads were there backing him up. I was waiting for George, to be fair, to start backing him up, and I was like, you cock, but it's just exactly the same. It's that arrogance of, Matt went, I don't care. I'm sorry to Jem. And he was a bit more apologetic, to be fair, than Whitney was with Duca, but this doesn't excuse it. And he was like, but I like that girl, and that's it. And what I found really interesting, the more he's chauvinistic to Whitney, the more fucking excited she is for him. Like the way he speaks, I'm gonna kiss your face off, or whatever it is. It's like, that's not the sort of chat you say, but she really likes all that. It's really interesting what people are into. That's what I can't understand, is if it's real anyway. Yeah,
but we said all along, the way Whitney has been gaslighting Duca as well. Now, we've been a bit, flip-flopping a bit on Duca, because, she's calling him out for being fake. And it's like, well, does she have a real point? But I think even if she did, it doesn't excuse her behaviour towards him. But the fact is, a lot of the things that she's picked up on Duca for, those are the things that Matt does. Like, when he was being a dick at it was the first dinner party that Matt was at, and he was being a dick then. But then he's like, ding, 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 on the glass and stuff, and holding court as if he's fucking Bertie Big Bollocks. And she's like, oh, fucking hell, what a hunk.
Yeah. He's one of them alpha guys, isn't he? He has to be the leader, doesn't he? That you can see that. He has to be the dominating one. And I think you're right. I think that the thing is with Duca was we knew his skit. We knew it was all about being on TV. We knew everything. But I said in the other episode, I said, oh, there's something here, what she's saying that we're not seeing. I think that's why she's being so obnoxious to him, so standoffish. I mean, every time you put VT of her, she's the one who's made all the effort in that relationship, and I have seen absolutely fuck all, effort from her whatsoever. She just sits there rolling her eyes at him completely. I think we had one scene where she laughed at him.
I've given so much of myself to this.
Yeah.
What? Nothing. What Absolutely. The square root of fuck all.
Of nothing. What have you actually given to anybody? Nothing. I just couldn't. I couldn't get that at all, Dave. I really couldn't.
So just my final point on this, Chris. Last season, there was the whole love triangle between, was it Jordan? I can't remember the girl's name, and Bob. Do you remember that? And it all happened.
Oh,
they had a little
Jordan,
kiss.
Bob, and yeah, is it Lauren?
I can't remember.
Yes,
but we know who we mean there. So the thing is that all happened off camera, and we saw the drama that it created, but we didn't actually see the event. If I'm to throw out a hypothesis here, Chris, this is the kind of thing that's happened with Matt and Whitney, but we've seen the Australian situation because that looked a little bit more. It was definitely set up, but I mean, maybe they were just better actors. It felt like we were watching it in real time. With Matt and Whitney, it did not feel like we were watching it in real time. I think something's happened there before the cameras have hit. Like say, producers have got wind of it, and they're like, look, we can't have all this stuff happen off camera again. We need to capture some of this. So can you just, have a chat, say you want to explore this relationship and whatever? Because I said that was my final point. So that's my hypothesis, Chris. That's why it looks so unbelievably fake. It's all happened before. They just wanted to catch something on camera. But
I agree.
What was absolutely fucking sickening was the fucking, there's footage where they're just waking up in bed together.
Yeah.
And I'd actually forgotten, and someone had put on our Patreon feed that, wasn't Whitney the one who was slut shaming about not, you wouldn't ever go with someone on the first date or something? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember, and I think you're right. I think because there was this little thing Gemma said about you're only interested in going to the gym with your mates. So we know that Daniel and Carolina hooked up through the gym, and then with that fake fucking Daniel was running a whole gym on his own, doing like fucking 5K dumbbells curls, wasn't he? With no sweat. And
fancy seeing you here.
Yeah, she's fully make-upped up just to do a workout like they do on Towie, where they're in the gym and no one's got a bead of sweat on him. And that's obviously what's happened. I think that Whitney has probably been in the gym. He has, Matt, and they've just connected, and that's why exactly what you said. That's what Towie does, Dave. They ask people what's happened, and then they reenact it on the show. And that's exactly what's happened. I think absolutely correct. And that's where you're verging on a well, not even a reality one. It's like a fake reality show even more than with stuff like that. Yeah,
but Chris,
good point.
We fucking love it, don't we?
We sure do, mate. Absolutely love it. Anyway, here is the Patreon roll call of honour. So thank you to all our patrons. Patreon.com/CD-RealityCast. And today, big thanks to Cassie, Megan, Kate, Annabeth, Maggie, Kristen, Zoe, Gillian, Michelle, Keith, Helen, Brianna, Jacqueline, Noreen, Amy, Joanna, Hillaby, Katie, Dee Dee, Hannah, Priscilla, Susan, Hennessy, Haley, Lauren, Lucky Lulu Green, and Ken Gustafsson. So big thank you to everyone today. If you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media @cdrealitycast. You may have noticed today, guys, some of my audio was a bit all over the place. Was actually out and about recording, so I had to sort of dial in via my car on my AirPods. So apologies on some of the gremlins there. guys. Hope everything come across really well. Thanks for tuning in. We both absolutely love doing this, and we had to jump on today because it's just absolutely nonsense. We'll do a week wrap-up as well, which will be out by weekend. And stay tuned. We may have some news. So take care. Thanks for everyone. And I'm going to do a terrible impression of Dave. Bye now.